With us tonight is Matt Sapara, and he is the Chief Operating Officer of the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority. And it's one of those entities, you hear the name thrown around all the time, but they are responsible for a lot of the new economic development, especially the really big projects around the Toledo area and beyond. First of all, let's talk about the beyond. You don't just do business in Toledo and Lucas County, correct? Where else does the Port Authority work?
Absolutely. Right now the Port Authority can do business in about 22 counties in the state of Ohio from a financing perspective. If we have an invitation from other counties to come in and do financing projects, we can go anywhere in the state. Recently, as we've done more economic development projects, especially as it's related to acquiring properties that are environmentally challenged, we've been getting a number of calls from different communities that perhaps don't have that expertise, and they'd just like to find out a little bit more how to go about doing that. There's one thing that the state of Ohio has a lot of, and that's a lot of brownfield sites.
Oh yeah, and the old Overland Jeep Plant, which we're seeing cleaned up right now, you're very involved in that, and that's a major project which will hopefully make room for more development.
Absolutely.
And what are you expecting to get in there? You do have one factory moving into some existing space right there.
Well, we have one company that's committed to developing a 45,000 square foot building and hiring about 22 employees, but I think our long-term goal is to basically redevelop heavy industrial users there. The site is just perfect for that from a transportation aspect perspective. Certainly the skilled workforce that we have in the area, it's just a great site for that.
It's kind of cool that the old smokestack is still there.
We intentionally left that in, and we've referred to the property as the Overland Industrial Park, and with obviously Overland on the stack, it's great marketing.
Very nice. Now, earlier you mentioned financing for various projects. How is it that the Port Authority is able to find financing at a time when so many government entities around us and even private employers are really on a tight budget, if not cutting back?
Sure. More than 20 years ago, the Port Authority established the Northwest Ohio Bond Fund. We did that with some money from the state, with some own cash that the Port Authority put into a reserve, and we've developed basically a bond fund that we can go out and do project financing. We also administer the Small Business Administration loans here locally. So it's basically been over the course of 20 years that we've developed these programs that we can still utilize almost regardless of what the local economy is like.
Okay, well that's pretty exciting. Now, we've seen a lot more cooperation, at least it seems to the outside observer, between Toledo and Lucas County lately. What role does the Port Authority have in that?
Sure. Basically, the Port Authority's role is basically financing. We're involved in the acquisition of property, brownfield sites, and the management of both Toledo Express Airport, Toledo Executive Airport, the Seaport, and the train station. It's a question we get all the time is, what is the role of all these economic development agencies? And quite honestly, it's very simple. At least from my perspective, the Port Authority is involved for going out and getting property, getting it in a condition where it can be marketed. The RGP then is responsible for the attraction of projects. The LCIC is engaged in job retention. The Chamber of Commerce is involved with developing existing businesses, and the University of Toledo is heavily involved in developing businesses that have a technology flavor to them. We all work very well together, and I think the best example of that, quite honestly, is the acquisition and now the development of the Jeep Parkway site.
We only have a few more seconds left, but are there better days ahead, or are we poised for growth in the future?
Absolutely. One of the things that I think the community's been very successful with is going out and attracting a lot of resources that we put into infrastructure. We now have a product to really market and develop into. The economy is slow to change, but it is changing. I think we're at the forefront of that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Matt Sapara from the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority. That is tonight's Talk Back.